We've been hearing statistics like these with growing regularity. The top 1% of Americans controls 42% of the nation's wealth. The wage gap between CEOs and average workers has grown to 587 to 1, and the top 1% pay state taxes around 5.4%, while the bottom 20% pay almost 11%, double that of their counterparts at the top of the economic pyramid. How have we come to this place of such drastic inequality, and what can we do to restore some measure of balance? Joining me today to discuss such questions is Les Leopold, co-founder and director of the Labor Institute. He is also the author of 4 books, most recently, Runaway Inequality, an activist's guide to economic justice. Welcome, Les. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
If the 2008 crash was something of a symptom of the inequality that we're talking about, maybe it makes sense to take a step back and look at an occasion which was similar to it. You suggest that there are parallels between 2008 and the crash of 1929 that led to the Great Depression. How are they similar? What causes did they share in your estimation?
Actually, it's kind of simple. If you take your foot off the neck of Wall Street, you will get a crash. The period leading up to the 1929 crash, Wall Street was almost entirely deregulated, and they did everything they could to boost the values of their shares, manipulate prices, deceive investors, a whole litany of features that were quite similar to what happened that led up to the Great Recession. After the Great 1929 crash, everyone understood that the lack of regulation, it was like the common knowledge in Washington, was the lack of regulation caused the crash. Therefore, we need to put severe regulations on Wall Street. And what changed was a new economic philosophy that came in, which academics call neoliberalism. I prefer to call it the Better Business Plan because liberalism is in the word and it's confusing to people because it's not a liberal program as we now understand the word. The dark underbelly of it was deregulating Wall Street from the controls that had been put in place during the New Deal. And that turned out to be an unmitigated disaster.
You suggest that this is absolutely a citizen-led movement, that it's not led from the top, it's led, quote unquote, it's led from the bottom, yes?
It requires structure.
Okay.
Occupy Wall Street feared structure. They did not like hierarchical organization of any kind, even if it was democratic. So we need structure. We need state, local, national organization, a common organization. You should be able to go anywhere from, Macon, Georgia to Arlington, Massachusetts, and be able to join a chapter. The only way you can come together is if you share a common analysis that says we can't win unless we take on runaway inequality and the power of Wall Street. We got this sort of small is beautiful attitude about our particular organization, but we can't win that way. We need something big. I think I want every viewer to know that they can become part of this campaign.
Well, Les, I thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
For Les Leopold, I'm Peter Bermudez for Arlington Public News.